Well, the Obama administration now admitting immigration reform may not happen anytime soon. President Obama had said he'd take executive action before the end of the summer to deal with the tens of thousands of immigrants flooding across the country's southern border for months now. Then reports emerged that he would delay making a move until after the midterms to protect vulnerable Democrats up for re-election. And now this from White House Press Secretary Josh Earnest.
It's hard for me to at least at this point, draw any clear conclusions about what the president's timing will be. There is the chance that it could be before the end of the summer. There's the chance that it could be after the summer. But the fact that the president will act is something that he is doing as a result of Congress's failure to act, and to be more precise about it, House Republicans' insistence to prevent common sense bipartisan action that would actually be in the best interest of the country.
Lou, you are our immigration expert, and you've been very amused by Josh Earnest's comments.
Why? I love, I mean, there's the president's spokesman saying he can't draw any conclusions. It sounds like from the Soviet era, a criminologist within the Kremlin trying to explain why he doesn't understand the Kremlin.
Right.
This is bizarre. Not only is the national liberal media moving to disaffection with this president and his lack of policies and strategies, but within the White House they can't even discern the meaning, the direction, or the thoughts of their chief executive.
Do you think there will be executive action on immigration, though? Because people have been saying this president has a fondness for that. He can't resist himself, it seems.
What else
will he do that?
What else has he done that he threatened? Think about this.
Yeah.
And when he came out in that tan suit, and I actually said this on my broadcast. I said at the end of a commentary on the president's words that wonderful, memorable day, I said, whoever talked him into going into a tan suit, they're so desperate because of these low poll numbers, they're willing to do anything. And I'll guarantee you that it's so devastating, the projected results on the midterms for the Democrats, that this president will not take executive action and rule by fiat on immigration.
Andrea, how should the GOP manage this immigration issue? Because they've struggled somewhat. There's been a lot of division within the right. When you see the president doing what he's doing now, which is, you know, people want border security, that has not been prioritized, what can the Republican Party do to shine on this issue?
Don't wear tan suits after hearing Lou Dobbs' feelings on them.
Uh-oh.
No tan suits. We will not be seeing you in a tan suit.
No, you will
Republicans have an opportunity, I think, because the polling is clearly on their side. 50% or 58%, I should say, now disapprove of the president's handling on immigration. Jedediah, I think the White House is looking at these poll numbers. That was a backpedal, if I've ever seen a press secretary backpedal. The problem is the White House has gotten so out front on this issue. Remember, they were saying he'll even come back from Martha's Vineyard to do it, and then it was, no, he won't. I also think Senate Democrats are frenetic. They are pressuring him like crazy. Do not do this. They're already in vulnerable races, and they know that it's going to backfire. And also, I think the cherry on top was him talking to the unions. And I think they say, wait a minute, can you just hold off on this if you want our support? Unless they cut a deal on membership. But Republicans just need to hammer home, this is bankrupting our cities, our states, our localities. It's crowding classrooms. Kids are going back to school. Now's the time to hit that message.
Harris, do you think this will be a key issue, though, for people going to the polls for midterms? Is immigration at the forefront of their mind?
Only in those states where the immigration, where they're having to deal with the illegal children, those undocumented children who've come across unaccompanied as well. You know, I spent vacation, my family's in Texas and Arizona. For the last 2 weeks, that's where I've been. And I got to tell you, it is a topic around the dinner table like no other.
Yeah.
And the greatest fear for my relatives who lived really far south of even Tucson, just outside of Nogales, which is a checkpoint, is that it isn't just going to be the illegal families looking for jobs, looking for hope and opportunity. Is that our borders are going to be so porous that we're going to see real danger walk across in the Forum. I mean, it's a conversation that they're having, that terrorism could come across that border. It isn't just a projection by somebody in a room looking at a diagram.
Right.
These are people living in those communities and those cities and seeing their resources soaked up as well.
Yeah, but it's a bifurcated issue, from worries about terrorism to business leaders who really do want something, because they would like some very smart engineering-trained employees. All right, let's move on to the
They'll
subject.
be coming over by the thousands across that southern border.
That's true.
Okay, all of you, we know you've all shopped with your credit cards. Exactly. Well, better check your credit card statements right now.
Oh, no.
If you shopped at Home Depot in just the last few months, the company is now confirming it may have suffered just a massive credit card breach after a website reported a large amount of stolen data had appeared on black market sites. In a statement, Home Depot saying, quote, protecting our customers' information is something we take extremely seriously, and we are aggressively gathering facts at this point while working to protect customers. Okay, that's all very nice, but reports indicate the breach may have extended as far back as the past spring, and it wasn't caught. If so, this hacking may end up being bigger than Target's incident late last year, which is huge. That affected 40 million debit and credit cards. Let's talk about what we need to do. I don't want to blame. That was yesterday's story, don't you guys think? It's like, okay, let's figure out. We're all going to shop at Home Depot, but what do you do to protect yourself?
Last time this happened, though, with Target, it was like a TikTok before Neiman Marcus was added to the list. So if they really knew that this was going on since last spring, I guess it's not really yesterday's news, because maybe tomorrow we're going to hear that now other stores are on board with this as well, but they didn't want to speak up, I guess, until Target came out last year. And now that Home Depot, maybe there'll be others.
But Andrea, they don't want to admit it, okay? Apple took its time in figuring out what happened. They're embarrassed. So the onus lies on us, does it not, to protect ourselves? Ideas?
I think the onus lies on both. I mean, I can understand their embarrassment. They're a huge company. People look up to them. They expect their information to be protected. So it has to be a PR nightmare for them, especially if they were hiding this from the consumer. It's very scary, but you know what? I don't think it's just yesterday's story. I think it's yesterday's, it's today's, it's tomorrow, because it seems everybody is getting hacked these days. The only good news for people like me who can't use a hammer is I don't shop at Home Depot. So for this one, I went, Neiman Marcus, yes. Home Depot, I went, phew, that's why I don't shop there.
Well,
not that I'm not handy at all.
The blame game, I say, is yesterday, because I'm not waiting around for Home Depot to figure out the best way to protect me.
No, Liz, I think your point is right. Each of us should be responsible for ourselves. I mean, that's sort of fundamental, I think, to most of our philosophies and even our partisanship. The idea that you don't know what's happening with that iPhone or your Samsung, whatever it may be, all you have to do is go in and make certain that you're not uploading to the cloud photographs. It's very simple. But the other part of this is we need to be honest about a couple of things here. One, Home Depot CEO may be quivering in his chair because what happened to Target CEO is very clear in front of him and his board. It should be very clear to the board that they've got a responsibility, a fiduciary responsibility, first and foremost, to the institution. It's not being met. They have, if there are spare customers for Home Depot, that's fine. I'm sure they'll go over to Lowe's. This is a competitive issue for them. It is existential in point of fact. To be lied to, all of that great brand loyalty for that great American corporation can dissipate like that.
Okay, let's talk about Jedediah passwords. Are your passwords really tight? And I mean using punctuation, upper and lower case, and numbers all in one word to make it gibberish. That's the safe way.
Mine are really tight. But there's this notion that privacy and security are just dead, that people are actually feeling right now, that almost that they don't exist anymore, and that these companies don't have proper internal mechanisms to check this stuff. Why the delay? Why the deceit? So yes, there is going to be an issue where people don't trust companies, and also an issue where people just don't trust anything at all. They're going to be afraid to upload a photo. They're going to be afraid to purchase anything online. And I think that's a scary reality, where there's no trust between businesses and individuals anymore because of what's happening.
Well, here is a very frightening reality. Another American executed at the hands of ISIS as critics blast the administration and blame foreign policy decisions for the group's rise.